thank you for joining us today at GBTA Conference 2024 Broadcast Studio. I'm Sue Spear, Senior Manager of Travel and Fleet at Senyard. And today I have joining me Daniel Senyard, Head of FCM Extension, FCM Travel.
Hey.
Hi Daniel,
hey,
how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Good. So everyone's talking about AI and how it's affecting corporate travel. But what is the one thing about AI that everyone seems to leave out of the conversation?
So I think that, and not just in travel, the assumption and fear is that AI is going to take all these jobs.
Right.
And I think it's interesting, I'm not saying this is factual, but it's interesting to look at the opposite angle. I don't know about you, but like the sort of restraint on hiring more people or building more features is typically money. Mm-hmm. And so if AI is making people more productive, let's say engineers, so you can build more features. Every company's got, a 2-year roadmap of features they want to build. They can't get to them yet because they're constrained by money.
Right.
Or money, or people, same thing. There's only so many sources of leverage. You can throw code, cash, or people at a problem. And here we're looking at code. So if your engineers are suddenly able to build 20% more features, that gives your salespeople 20% more cool things to sell to customers.
Right.
And if those salespeople are more productive, they're better qualifying leads that they're more likely to win, then they're closing more deals. So why wouldn't you hire more salespeople if the ROI on the salesperson increases? So now you're selling more products, closing more customers, you're going to need more implementation. And even if those implementation people are 40% more productive, you've got this many more customers. I'm losing track of my math.
Okay.
But you see what I'm saying? And then you need more support. And even if the support's automated and there's chatbots or whatever,
right,
you still need the human touch, and you've got that many more customers. So there is a world where actually this automation increases job count. If you look at the way things have worked historically, automation brings down costs, which then increases consumer demand, which increases buying, right, which creates more demand for more products and things to be sold to people, which create more jobs. And so I don't think it's quite a dead set assumption that AI is going to take jobs. It's going to change jobs. It's going to eliminate some roles, naturally. But for the most part, I think it's going to create huge opportunities in employment and in, sort of just offerings to people.
Excellent. Yeah, and that insight is incredible. And honestly, just listening to what you said today, just now, that changes the way I look at it too. So that's great. So let's get real. What current corporate travel AI trend is simply a fad, and what trend should everyone actually be watching?
So, going to upset a few people, I'm sure, because they're going down this path full speed. But chatbots are a little overhyped, I think. It's the first user interface that this new generative AI is showing. It's super compelling. You can write, rap songs in the tone of Shakespeare or whatever the case is. So this whole writing and getting responses is very cool. It's a great example of the power of generative AI. But these chatbots, people I think are going a little bit too far, too fast. They really are starting to put this customer facing, going full bore. And there's just so many examples of where that isn't right. You still need the people involved. You still need the human touch.
Right.
I won't mention names, but I'm part of our Artificial Intelligence Center of Excellence at FCM, where we're working on different projects. And myself and one of the other members, we were playing with a Meta Sites chatbot. And we said, what's the best way to book a hotel? Very helpfully, it said, well, I can help you with that. Where would you like to go? And we said, well, I don't like you. How else could I book a hotel? And they gave us the chatbot gave us the name of one of their competitors, an OTA, and said, well, you could try this site. And we said, well, how would we book a hotel on that site? And I said, well, first you put in the search, and it gave us walk through steps on how to book a hotel with their competitor. And people are just putting this out there, not really knowing how it works, and just trusting it's going to handle all these problems. And that's, again, where the people are very important. And one that I can mention names because it was in the news, Air Canada recently had a thing where someone was traveling for a funeral and asked about the bereavement policy. And the chatbot, I guess, after consuming all these other bereavement policies, was like, I know what that is, okay. We will offer you a discount on your travel.
Okay.
So he spent all this like last minute money traveling, and Air Canada didn't have this policy in place. So, and they went to court, and Air Canada had to give him his discount because the chatbot told him there was a discount. And this happened recently, you know. And so putting all your faith in sort of removing people and putting these chatbots in front, I think is probably a little bit over the top, a little bit too fast.
Point. That's a great point.
Yeah.
You know, you do need that personal touch on the back end as well, but it's true. And I know even for me, using AI, even formulating some pertinent emails, putting together thoughts. Look, we've got kids doing it all the time these days.
Yeah.
So that's a really great point. So you developed the FCM extension, a groundbreaking tool that supports travelers at the time of booking. What's next, and how will AI affect the FCM extension's future?
Okay, so for those that don't know, what the extension is basically a browser extension that lives in your web browser, so Chrome or Edge, whatever. So it's not a website. So when you go to an Expedia or you go to Concur, it works on all those sites. So it can see that you're on Expedia, and some of our customers will pop up a message on top of Expedia's website or any consumer site and say, our corporate policy requires you to book in the OBT. So click here and it'll take them back. And so it's a way to communicate at the point of booking. And so you can see how there's all these different touch points. So what our people are doing, what our customers are doing is using the extension to nudge people, to say, hey, you're about to book this hotel, it's not refundable, don't forget to book refundable. So you sort of break apart your travel policy into nudges that show up at the exact moment they're relevant. What AI does is helps us kind of create create amazing copywriters of our customers who, instead of having to come up with their own wording to say, I want to tell people that not to forget to book a hotel when they finish booking a flight, and they have to write it, and then they have to decide this should show up on the on the flight confirmation page. The AI can start to come up with that itself. So you put in your travel policy documents, and then it makes suggestions. And it says, hey, you should have this one, and I've written it for you. We think it should show up on the flight confirmation page so that you don't have to do all the thinking. The AI is really creating that first draft. Now, again, we don't push that straight to customers. We still have the travel manager be the arbiter or the editor of what goes out. So put in your travel policy. We spit out a bunch of notifications. We say, here's what we think based on your policy makes sense to guide people. So they're able to create content en masse that's well written, that's referencing their travel documents and policy, that can then be shown to the travelers as it's relevant. So
that's awesome.
It just goes from like a one person having to be a good writer and having to understand how everything works to being able to just like put your existing travel policy in, sit back, and then it does it for you. So
it's fascinating how far we've come with all of this.
It is.
So,
it's incredible.
Well, thank you for taking the time today to answer some questions with me. I really appreciate it, and it was lovely meeting you.
You too.
So
Thanks
so much.
Thank you.